We're in Mc Greevy's shop. This is the original bit here.
Following on from the photograph, the old photograph, where there was a donkey and cart outside, which we got last Sunday.
That wasn't yours, no?
No, it wasn't ours. Well, maybe it might have been. It might have been my grandfather's or my father's time, because we had a lot of cattle and horses in on the mall, and on the gateway, which is between ourselves and the hairdressers. There was a gateway in there, and for many years, the cattle were brought in from Knockgranny, where there was land, and they were brought down twice a day for milking. In the milking parlours, which were inside in the old yard, which is now knocked, unfortunately. And there was also a dairy in there, a small dairy. There was no refrigeration in those days.
And who ran the dairy?
A lady by the name of Mary Greevy. Mary Greevy, she was from Letcher. And also my Aunt Pat was there. And there was also a lady by the name of Mrs. Moore in the Mall, which was Delia Ford. Delia Ford, a mother, died at birth. And she came to visit, to stay with her aunt and my grandmother, Mrs. Delia McGreevy, and that was the history of the dairy outside. And then I also spoke to you about the minis. Just to follow on from that, it could be either of the three, Mrs. Flatley, Mrs. Gibbons, or Mrs. Hawkshaw, which had cars at that time, very few cars, but they were really nice ladies' cars. And then follow on from here, this was...
How long were Mc Greevy's in the shop?
Mc Greevy's here since 1904, 1905.
And who was here before that? Do you know who was here before?
Here before that, there was an old photograph that was over the mantelpiece in the presbytery. And in the background of the old church, the old church came out to the front line of the street, which would be similar to the presbytery and the Carabeg house. That was the level. Beautiful building. And that was renovated, I presume, I believe, in around the 60s. Maybe before that, I don't know. But in the background, there was you could see the shop, and there was Nolans over the door. Nolans. Now, we never went back to see who the Nolans were, but there was people around the corner with the name of Mulcairns's, which had a small shop. And then the far side was H.P. Murphy's. But on the left-hand side...
So this is Mc Greevy's here, so this is Murphy's over here then?
Murphy's are over here. Murphy's were here, which was H.P. Murphy's, which would be H.P. Murphy's was between those two pillars. And in that H.P. Murphy's was Joe Coyne was there for many years, and she married Seamus Gannon, and they were a very happy couple, a very popular couple in Westport. And then time moves on and the wheel of life changes.
And who was H.P. Murphy?
H.P. Murphy was a man from a bookie, which is now called a bookies. H.P. Murphy was a turf accountant, was over the door, and he was from Ballinrobe.
Ballinrobe, okay.
Yeah. So he was here for many years, and then further on, then again.
So you bought off H.P. Murphy?
No, my grandparents bought it from the people before H.P. Murphy's. He was only renting it.
Okay.
He was renting it, and in them days, I think it's around 5 shillings a week. Right? And the far side again then, which was McGrail's, and McGrail's was owned by Martin McGrail, the famous Martin McGrail, and his wife Julie, who lived, they had no family, but they lived here on this part of the shop now, which was Bridge Street, and Martin was a great GAA man, sportsman, and above all he had great love for greyhounds.
Okay. And which part was... This part here?
From here was McGrail's.
From here down to the end.
And at the very end was McGrail's slaughterhouse.
In the back here?
In the back. The very back here was...
the dairy is?
No, the dairy was on the far side. 295, thank you so much. 295. So there was many sheep slaughtered there and hung out. And the old photograph of Westport showed all the sheep, carcasses of the sheep, outside the buildings. In them days there was no refrigeration, and there was also Martin had a brother by the name of Patsy McGrail, and he was a great a man who had a great love for sport in particular, as Martin has told you, and also for the greyhounds. The greyhounds were famous in Westport at that time, and I believe the McGrails had many good greyhounds. And then their Patsy's daughter, Gay, she married O'Malley, and they're living presently down in the Crescent. So that's the history of the famous corner.
The structure of Westport.
Yeah.
Iconic.
Yeah. Thanks ever so much.
And when did you take over?
My father died in 1970, and We had many great years, great fun. Greevys is known as I suppose how would I put it, the Times Square of Westport, where people, it's like a tourist office most of the year, looking for directions, looking for old people, old photographs, old names in Westport, and normally my grandparents, my parents, myself, and anybody who comes in, of course we'll send them in the right direction.
Of course, it's in a great position, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Right
Even somebody came in recently looking for it called the old the Gibbons of the Mall. And the Gibbons of the Mall is now where Dr. White and his beautiful wife Tina live with their family. And that was the Gibbons' family, lived there for many years. And I suppose, like everything else, time changes, people move on, and the next generation will come up in the years to come.
So you've seen big changes in the way this business has ran over the years?
I've seen a lot of changes in Westport. Never mind the business. Like, when you look at Westport over the last 30 or 40 years, it has come on leaps and bounds. We are blessed, I suppose, that we are. Westport is the gateway. It's the centre of the universe, Westport, and that's why we, as a town, as I say, we get not us here, but the town. There's a great community spirit in the town, and it will go from leaps and bounds, and from health and happiness to the rest of the people in Westport in the years to come.
But this retail business has changed as well.
Oh yes, it's a minefield now. Anybody in the retail business today in Ireland should be given a gold medal by the government. They're providing service, they're providing work, and above all, I suppose, they're providing, a service to the people all over, the tourists as well as locals.
But when you started here now, it wasn't an open shop like this.
No,
it was
counters. And there is some photographs someplace, so over the next few weeks we'll give them to the famous Dr. White, and he'll have them up on YouTube and Facebook. Many thanks. I have to go now because I'm getting busy in the shop at the moment.